This is home. Casper, your Wyoming link starts right now.
Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Jennifer Lindgren. The prospect of the government putting public lands up for sale in the Cowboy State drew hundreds of people to Wyoming's capital in protest. Our Eric Vigil spoke with some of those in attendance about what they're hoping our lawmakers will do.
Not for sale! Not for sale!
Here at the Wyoming State Capitol, the action is winding down after the crowd listened to multiple speeches advocating for Barrasso, Lummis, and Hageman to not support the big, beautiful bill for its inclusion of a public land sale.
I mean, this is our culture as Wyomingites. This is our heritage, and we aren't going to be the generation that lets that go.
I grew up on public lands, right? I grew up going outside of town in Rock Springs and spending time on the types of public lands that Senator Mike Lee is currently trying to dispose of, saying that they're worthless, right? And I fundamentally disagree because it's core to my Wyoming character.
Based on the June 14th amendment made to the reconciliation bill by Utah Senator Mike Lee, the Wilderness Society released a map that shows what public lands in Wyoming could be put up for sale if the June 14th version passes, totaling around 15 million acres. Later changes and challenges have removed some portions of public lands from the amended sale, but Senator Mike Lee is still pushing. This rally had two figureheads, Democratic Wyoming State Representative Carly Provenza and Cowboy State Daily columnist Rod Miller.
It's the most bipartisan thing I've ever been a part of. There's people from every walk of life here, and it is just beautiful to see how family friendly this is. There's kids running around everywhere. There's Republicans, there's Democrats, there's people I've never, met before out here just coming out of the woodworks to show their support for public land. So I don't know how you can be a Wyomingite and not be supporting this.
This is the people's movement. This isn't about me. This is about all the 500 people here and the thousands of people that are making phone calls right now. I'm just here doing the job of being a representative instead of a politician.
The rally came to a close as Representative Provenza called all three Wyoming delegates advocating that they don't support a public land sale. Eric Vigil, your Wyoming link, Cheyenne.
Meanwhile, in Casper, people gathered for their own protest of the public land sale. Our Duncan Cowan takes us to the rally at Pioneer Park in downtown Casper.
Across the street from me are hunters, fishers, hikers, campers, and more who wanted to make their voices heard on this land transfer issue, but couldn't make it down to Cheyenne this week. And they're not just from Casper. People from Dayton, Lander, and Glenrock also came out in opposition of attempts to sell millions of acres of public lands that, according to Utah Senator and proposal author Mike Lee, will combat federal deficit and provide space for affordable housing.
They said that it would help pay off the deficit, but it would pay less than 0.1% of our deficit. So I think there's greed behind it somewhere.
I don't think it's fair. They're taking away all the waters for people fishing. Our lands are not for sale.
So far, Wyoming's senators and its representative have voted in favor of the sales, but organizer Pete Madsen has a plan to make sure lawmakers hear the dissent.
Along with the calls and emails that have been flooding their offices over the last week, we wanted to be able to hand deliver some letters to them as well to know that these people care.
John Barrasso, Harriet Hegman, and Cynthia Lummis are in fact not representing us. We don't want our public lands sold.
Alongside the protests, a letter from Keep It Public Wyoming was released Friday, telling lawmakers that their votes did not represent the people of Wyoming, with over 100 businesses signed on. The letter can be found on our website, yourwyominglink.com. Duncan Cowan, Your Wyoming Link, Casper.
It's the season for enjoying all the great outdoors has to offer in Wyoming, but a word of caution. Summer is also the time of year when the risk for traumatic injury increases. Our Alex Hill has more from the medical director of trauma at the Cheyenne Regional Medical Center about what visitors and locals alike can do to be safe.
The Cheyenne Regional Medical Center recently revealed that the number of trauma patients in the emergency room during the summer increases. But what exactly classifies as a trauma injury, and what during the warmer months puts us more at risk?
Anything from a dog bite to a major car wreck, a stabbing, a shooting, motorcycle wreck, a bicycle wreck, a fall with a fracture in the arm, all of those are trauma.
Lisa Burton, the medical director of trauma at Cheyenne Regional, explained how many more trauma patients they see and how tourism impacts those numbers.
We have about 25 to 30% increase in the number of trauma patients that we see in our emergency department from May through August, and especially, of course, during Frontier Days when the population of Cheyenne goes up dramatically.
Burton further noted how Frontier Days can put locals and travelers more at risk.
During Cheyenne Frontier Days, we see a lot of fights, a lot of people who get into brawls specifically related to alcohol. So we see a lot of facial injuries. We see extra motorcycle wrecks during this time of year.
Burton filled us in on some safety tips.
Don't drink and drive a motorcycle or a car or a bicycle. That is one of the big factors in those injuries that we see, and it's worse in the summer. Secondly is, of course, wear helmets, wear seat belts, wear body protection when you're on a motorcycle.
Burton went into how Cheyenne Regional performs drills during the summer to prepare, and also collaborates with F.E. Warren Air Force Base to make sure everyone is equipped for incoming patients.
The Laramie County Sheriff's Office is sharing another update on Tuesday's shooting in the 1200 block of County Road 157. Authorities have identified the person killed as 52-year-old Pine Bluffs resident Kevin Heffley. He was a pilot and manager for Crop Dusters, LLC. No additional details have been released about what happened at the scene of the shooting. The investigation is still ongoing. A heads up for drivers. Beginning this upcoming Monday, crews will be moving a super load from Laramie to Medicine Bow on I-80. WYDOT says to expect stops and travel delays for the 26-foot wide, 385-foot long transformer that weighs over 700 tons. The caravan will move no more than 30 miles an hour. On Monday, the load is expected to turn onto I-80 by 10:30 a.m. at mile marker 311, then stop at the truck parking lot at mile marker 307. On Tuesday, the truck will finish its journey to Medicine Bow, taking Highway 13 and Highway 30-287. WYDOT says there are plans to move 2 more transformers later this summer. The National Weather Service office in Riverton issued a red flag warning for Natrona County on Friday, with similar conditions expected Saturday. Dry conditions, gusting winds up to 35 miles per hour, and high temperatures into the 90s increase the risk of wildfire in the county for the coming days. We'll have your complete forecast in just a few minutes. The heat is on, and crews are continuing to fight the horse fire in the Bridger-Teton National Forest. We'll begin today's trip around Wyoming with a look at their progress. As of Friday morning, the horse fire, which is burning 7 miles west of Myrna, was over 2,400 acres in size and 44% contained. Fire crews were successful in controlling fire lines on Thursday. On Friday, they plan to further control the perimeter from Prospect Peak Lookout to Pass Creek. Firefighters responded to another wildfire that broke out in the Grays River Ranger District of the Bridger-Teton National Forest Thursday afternoon. The so-called Porcupine Fire was last estimated at 6 acres in size and located near Smoot, Wyoming. The cause is unknown. For more wildfire updates, you can visit yourwyominglink.com. Now to Worland, where Thursday evening the fire department there responded to a fire at a shop on Road 13 with other buildings threatened. Despite the size of the fire seen here, crews were able to make a quick knockdown. No injuries reported. And for drivers in Teton County, the Wyoming Department of Transportation is planning to close access to YO-22 at Teton Pass for more construction work beginning Friday evening. However, vehicles and cyclists will still have access on the west side to Coal Creek Trailhead. And that wraps up this trip around Wyoming. The Wyoming Department of Education is sharing details on the Embracing Literacy Conference, which brought in 400 attendees earlier this month. The conference featured sessions, workshops, and keynotes from national presenters on the science of reading, evidence-based practices, and high-quality materials. Wyoming Superintendent of Public Instruction Megan Dagenfelder also spoke at the event. Stay with us. We'll have your weekend forecast up next. And as a reminder, you can stay up to date on the latest local and state news as well as weather at our website, yourwyominglink.com. We're back in a moment.
Now, your Wyoming Link weather for Casper.
Hello, I'm meteorologist Cassie Clavin. Thanks so much for tuning in as we are going to be having a breezy Saturday. We saw the winds today, that red flag warning in place, and now we'll continue to watch for the potential of an elevated fire risk as we head into the day Saturday. After that, our winds are expected to improve. We're also going to be watching for some showers and thunderstorms. Chances this weekend, very isolated at best. Definitely something to want to be paying attention to, though. And then our temperatures. It was warm today. We're going to be staying warm as we head into the day Saturday. Temperatures up into the 90s once again before we do cool off a couple degrees heading into Sunday. So let's take a look at what's going on as far as some of these wind gusts are concerned overnight tonight. Here in Casper, winds will be gusting 20 to 25 miles per hour. Similar winds as we head into the day Saturday. Muddy Gap winds picking up to about 30 to 35 miles per hour. So we are going to continue to watch for some of these wind concerns, especially with these dry conditions. It'll be dry conditions. It'll be breezy. That's those conditions that are kind of prime for those fire concerns. So we'll be mindful of that into the day Saturday. We then do note some improvement to the wind as we finish the weekend Sunday and then head into next week. But let's talk about some of these showers and storms. So as we head into the evening hours tonight, fairly quiet. We'll see a lot of clear skies into the early morning hours on Saturday, and then just some isolated shower and thunderstorm activity as we head Saturday afternoon into some of the evening overnight hours. So it's not going to be a total washout, but definitely something to be aware of. Tonight, we're down to 56 degrees, mostly clear skies, watching for those winds. Closer look at some of the temperatures across the area. 56 in Douglas, 61 in Buffalo, Rapid City 62. A couple isolated showers and thunderstorms possible in Rapid City overnight tonight. Then as we head into the day Saturday, our high temperature up to 93 degrees, which is 9 degrees warmer than average for this time of year. Wow, it is going to be warm, feeling summer-like out there with these warm, breezy conditions for the day Saturday. 93 in Casper, 92 in Douglas, lots of 90s, upper 80s across the area. Newcastle at 87 degrees for the day Saturday. It is going to be warm across the state, not just for us. Up to 96 degrees in Torrington for the day on Saturday. Some isolated shower and thunderstorm activity, like I mentioned, going to be possible. Then we're down into the 50s overnight Saturday into early Sunday morning. A few isolated showers, thunderstorms. We'll continue to watch those as we head into Sunday afternoon with our temperature Sunday afternoon hitting up to 87 degrees. So still warmer than average, not quite as warm as what we'll see for Saturday. But 87 for Sunday, 86 for Monday, mid 80s. And then we're back up into the 90s as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, continuing to watch for those daily thunderstorm chances.
The U.S. Supreme Court handed down a major decision affecting Planned Parenthood. As Rebecca Castor reports, it could have wide-ranging implications for the reproductive health service nationwide.
In a split decision, the Supreme Court ruled Thursday South Carolina has the right to essentially defund Planned Parenthood by cutting off Medicaid money.
It is a grave injustice, not just towards our patients who use Medicaid, but to all Americans who must live with the knowledge that if they fall on hard financial times, as many are right now, they are fundamentally less free.
This case centered on a 2018 executive order signed by South Carolina's governor that blocked the state's 2 Planned Parenthood clinics from receiving Medicaid funds because they provide abortions. The court upheld that order 6-3. Pro-life supporters are praising the court's ruling, while Planned Parenthood worries about the future of their clinics if more states move to pool funding.
If Planned Parenthood is defunded, nearly 200 Planned Parenthood health centers in 24 states across the country are at risk of closure.
The court's liberal justices dissented, with Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson writing, "It will strip those South Carolinians and countless other Medicaid recipients of a deeply personal freedom, the ability to decide who treats us at our most vulnerable."
We're still waiting for a ruling on what is arguably the biggest case before the court this year. It centers on birthright citizenship and whether federal judges can issue nationwide injunctions on policies that affect the entire country. Outside the Supreme Court, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
GE announces a nearly $500 million project. Weight Watchers will sell Wegovy, a real ID reminder from TSA, and how the New York Yankees will celebrate Seinfeld night. CJ Papa has your business headlines.
A multi-million-dollar investment for GE Appliances, which says it will move production of washing machines from China to its headquarters in Louisville, Kentucky. The $490 million investment leading to the creation of 800 jobs. In a statement, the company writing, "We are bringing laundry production to our global headquarters in Louisville because manufacturing in the U.S. is fundamental to our zero-distance business strategy to make appliances as close as possible to our customers and consumers." Pharmaceutical company Novo Nordisk announcing a collaboration with Weight Watchers to sell the popular weight loss drug Wegovy. They're offering it up at a much lower price of $299. Weight Watchers subscribers will be able to access the drug starting Tuesday. The TSA is reminding the flying public that a Waffle House ID will not work as an alternative to a real ID. That message being sent in response to a viral post of a traveler calling it the realest ID. The TSA responding saying, respectfully, no, Waffle House IDs will not suffice as a real ID alternative. Sorry. Earlier this month, TSA warned Americans their Costco cards also won't fly at airport security. The U.S. began requiring a real ID for all domestic flights in May. And it's officially the summer of George. The Yankees are celebrating Seinfeld night with a new bobblehead of the team's former employee, George Costanza, sleeping under his desk. 18,000 lucky fans get one on August 21st when the Yankees host the Boston Red Sox. CJ Papa, Fox News.
Your beach habits could impact public health, wildlife, local economies. Coming up next, how you can help keep coastlines clean this summer. What you do at the beach this summer can affect public health, local wildlife, and coastal communities. Chanley Painter explains what can help reduce harm and keep the coastlines clean.
Whether they're by a lake, pond, or ocean, beaches beckon many people to their sandy shores for summer fun. But all the foot traffic can trigger harmful consequences for local wildlife and businesses.
Summer tourism plays a role in water pollution, but it doesn't have to.
Environmental experts say you can leave beaches better than when you arrived, and it can start with the gear you pack with you, especially items for snacks and lunches.
If you can bring a reusable water bottle, bring the types of silverware, plates, napkins that you can take back home with you and wash and reuse, that's better for the environment and less likelihood of it getting left behind.
You'll also want to leave no trace by packing out any food waste and any other garbage so you can dispose them off-site. And if you're at a pet-friendly beach, you'll also want to pick up any surprises they may have left behind.
If you plan to bring your pets, then you'll want to bring disposable pet waste bags or appropriate containers to collect that. Again, that should go in your trash.
Rubbish doesn't just threaten native plants and animals.
We'll see degradation in our environment. There'll be trash.
It also can be devastating for local economies.
Because if it's unsightly, individuals aren't going to want to come. If it's unhealthy or things are closed, individuals aren't going to come.
Meanwhile, if you're looking for a beach activity that can also make an impact, experts recommend bringing trash bags and gloves and doing beach sweeps to pick up any debris. I'm Chanley Painter, Fox News.
The future of tax credits for carbon capture projects is still uncertain. For now, companies can use technology that pulls carbon from the air and stores it underground. But as Chanley Painter reports, critics say it can't keep up the pace with how much gas is being released.
With scientific reports continuing to cite the ongoing warming effects of greenhouse gas emissions generated by fossil fuel use and production, calls are intensifying for large corporations to reduce their impacts. But while carbon dioxide gas is being pumped into the air, facilities like this carbon capture plant in Texas, owned by energy company BKV Corp, are busy pumping it deep below the earth.
We take carbon dioxide, CO2, and inject it permanently in the ground and sequester it so that it's no longer in the atmosphere.
CO2 absorbs and gives off heat, but with more of this gas being released into the atmosphere, it's causing global temperatures to spike.
It's very important that we figure out real solutions to do these things in ways that sustain industries that are important to our economies.
Officials at BKV Corp expect the carbon capture industry to take off. as more companies partner with capture projects to have their emissions offset. But some critics say the strategy is too costly and doesn't deliver enough results.
We are looking at facilities that might do 1 million tons of CO2 storage a year, some 5 million. Last year, we emitted 38 billion tons of CO2 worldwide.
And because companies can still receive tax credits for carbon capture projects, some critics say it enables them to still use fossil fuels at an alarming rate. Meanwhile, some wildlife experts are concerned about potential risk if captured carbon were to leak out. I'm Chanley Painter, Fox News.
We'll be right back. Finally today, if you ever thought eating pasta makes you happier, you're right. A research team explored the psychological and emotional effects of pasta consumption. Unlike other foods, it was found pasta seems to boost happiness and reduce stress, particularly when enjoyed in social settings like family dinners or gatherings with friends. Of the more than 1,500 Italian participants, 41% of respondents associate pasta with family, and 21% link it to positive emotions. The findings were recently published in the Journal of Food Science and Nutrition. And that seems like a delicious way to wrap up the show today. Thanks for watching. I'm Trill Gates. I'll see you back here next time. Goodbye.